Hi, happy you're here. Get comfy and let's get started. Sit at My Grave, Season 2, Reflections, Chapter 19. This is amazing! Unbelievable. I can't stop shaking right now. Emery walked out with the rest of Skip the Convo. Although they didn't get the encore they wanted on stage, they were still asked to play their music on the speakers instead in the club for a while. Emery was still moping from her argument with Reed. He should have been there to see everything, but when she was approached by someone backstage, her mood drastically shifted. She remained professional as they exchanged information. He showed her his card and talked about how Skip the Convo was exactly the fresh talent he and their company wanted to represent. Now standing outside where it was already storming, Emery and the rest of the band couldn't stop laughing with each other, chatting about how everything happened, recording and taking pictures to always encase this moment. "Where is Reed?" Gary questioned loudly, still rattling with excitement. After safely packing away their equipment, they were all getting wet out there in the parking lot, but nothing could dampen the mood right then. "Not mad at him anymore?" Gary teased, punching out. I wasn't. He's gonna freak out when he hears this," he rambled off happily. "Let me tell him," Emery beamed. "What? No way! We all gotta be there," Eric complained. "Guys, relax. We'll be happy with whoever tells him," Gary laughed. "She had to put up with it the most. She deserves this," Gary chuckled. Emery rolled her eyes at him. "Well, whoever tells him, let's do it in the morning. He texted me earlier and said something came up. Maybe I'll just wake him up with the news," Emery grinned, already thinking of the look on his face. Fine, but we gotta celebrate," Eric said, pulling him close, attempting to put his arms around everyone. "Celebrate? We were at the club all night," Gary laughed. "The night is still young. We have to be professional up there. It's time to play," Eric said with a devilish grin, arching his eyebrows. "Oh, I see. Time for the real party to start," Gary spurted back, fist bumping him. "Don't have too much fun. We don't want to get arrested before our first tour," Gary warned him with a wink. "Can't have that much fun. Our boy isn't here," Gary lazily smiled. "We'll be back soon enough. And don't worry, he started the fun a little earlier tonight. I think he broke some dude's nose before he left," Emery mentioned with a smarmy tone to her voice. Eyes shining as she smirked. "What? You should have called us out," Eric laughed. He and Gary stepped off doing fake punches at each other, goofily showing how they would have helped. "Yeah, good night, guys," Emery said, shaking her head at them. "You aren't coming?" Gary questioned. No. I'll go celebrating when Reed knows," Emery announced, somewhat trying to hide the giddiness in her voice. The anger from earlier was gone almost completely. She wasn't sure if Reed was still upset, but figured it would make it even more funny when she told him. And with that, they soon parted, all with a swell of hope and excitement in their hearts, as they prepared for this new chapter in their lives. After drying up a bit, Emery was in her own car heading home. She didn't stop her smile while she was there alone, thinking of what this could mean if all went well. He could focus on music full time, they would get to travel, they could quit his awful jobs that they both hated, they'd get more time together. Emery imagined she'd get to focus on things she wanted for her career too. If it was either the band full-time or something else. What it all chalked up to was they'd be happy, they'd be more fulfilled. If she just couldn't wait. As the words filled Arden's ears, every moment was like a pinch at his heart. His head was swimming, like a thick fog was drifting into him, pulling him down. He could only admit to himself that several times during Emery recalling that awful night to him, he wanted to make her stop. He was sorry he even brought it up, and just wanted to push everything he heard away. He wanted to learn more, have some type of understanding from his previous blindness, and put his curious mind at ease. But all this did was bring up more questions. Nausea cruised through his body as he thought of how roughly he interacted with his brother that night in their yard, even going so far as to strike him across the face, and after he had stood up for him. Arden stiffened. Was it obvious how uncomfortable he looked? I'm fixing it, Arden repeated in his head. Fixing it how? Sitting here feeling sorry for yourself? Making this poor girl relive trauma you caused? Just to satisfy your own curiosity. Still just as selfish, huh? You aren't on your own time anymore. Not if you want Reed back, just as you lost him. Arden heard the words hiss to his brain. His body shuddered after. I, I should get going, Emery muttered, getting up. It was too much, being here around his family, knowing what she did, remembering the glittering hope she previously had for her and her boyfriend, just to come back to reality. The colors of the world were so dull now. Amory. Arden attempted to call her back as she was putting her lighter back in her pocket, trying to get out of there. She was moving quickly, fidgeting as she did so. Surprisingly, she didn't stop. She looked at Arden expectantly, waiting for something. Anything to pull her out of the built-up pressure she'd taken on. I wish he had have called me when he needed help, Amory settled on saying when Arden didn't speak. She slipped back down the bench next to him, her shoulders slumping as she hugged herself in Reed's jacket. I should have never fought with him. I wasn't even mad. He could tell I wasn't mad, couldn't he? The words continued flowing out. She was losing control of it. Amy herself didn't want to bring these things up. She already had to deal with being around Reed's things, and to continue trying to manage things for the band was enough. She wasn't one to show her emotions in this way usually, but now that she dug it up, bringing it back was difficult. Even if the audience she was doing it with was the worst one she could think of. Right now, she didn't even feel her normal dislike for Arden, just the despair of missing Reed. I would have picked up. I would have been there in a heartbeat. Why didn't he call me? Emery choked in a swing of what sounded like an angry sadness. Arden couldn't tell if she was even still speaking with him or just voicing her hurt in general. Always handling it himself, no matter what I told him. It was always his burden alone. Him feeling that way wasn't his fault. Emery's voice crumbled a bit. She hung her head down, the grip around herself tightening. Some of what she was saying, Arden was sure he had no idea about, but overall, he felt the guilt twist his insides as he watched Amory. He couldn't see her face that well now, but she sounded like she was crying. She was blaming herself for not being there, saying she would have dropped anything to help Reed, and here he was, slowly putting an arm around her to console her, while knowing he had that opportunity that she was begging for. Every sentence he conjured up to comfort her sounded phony. How dare he say anything, when the last words to his own brother had been nothing but insults and hatred. It's okay. Reed wouldn't want you crying. Arden heard the words come out of his mouth, but it felt like he was on autopilot, like he was parroting what his mom would say, because honestly, he felt his mind cracking too. Thanks, Arden, Emery said, getting lost of what else to say. Her emotions were everywhere, but blaming people wasn't helping right then. Hating someone Reed loves so much isn't right. Your past is your past, but it isn't your fault he's gone. You feel the same way I do. Probably even worse. Emery whispered as she hugged Arden, trying to comfort him by rubbing his back. The warmth of her chilled Arden to the bone.